Hi, everyone. My name is Sarah Turner McGowan. For those of you who haven't met me, I am your instructor for this course, Social Media Activism, which is a 4-week course for the month of June. We started today, Monday, June 4th, and we will end on Friday, June 29th. My hope for you for today is that you will take some time to look over the course syllabus, get yourself kind of familiar with the way that I've got it set up. It's only about, I've only got everything put up for the first 2 weeks of the course. So if you're looking for stuff later in the semester, like, hey, where's that other project? Not there yet, but I'm working on it and hoping that I can have that done by the end of the day, Wednesday. So I just wanted to give you a couple of, minutes to see my face, get to know who I am, and let you know my overall kind of goal for the course. This is a class that is going to teach you lots of different things about social media. My hope is that anyway. And it starts off by kind of introducing you to what some of the bigger themes of the class will be, and that is identity and discrimination, because this is an activism class as well. And so, you kind of have to understand a little bit about what are some of the things that people typically are engaged in whenever they are doing activist work. So it starts there. That is your unit for the rest of the week. You'll have readings that give you information about it and kind of help start out your journey into activism. And then the second week is more about the history of social media and social movements in general. And so that is where you'll be looking at some kind of theories about, or some concepts about, what are the stages of social movements? How does social media work with that kind of history that they have? Week 3 is devoted to specific case studies of past and present social movements that have been done online, some of this kind of cyber activism 2.0, if you will. And so kind of gives you some examples to think about and some places to go. And that's whenever you start actually diving into the online textbook, which has a lot of case studies. And then week 4 is kind of odds and ends. It would be my potpourri week. And then really just focusing on your end of semester project. So hopefully that gives you an overview of the course. You're going to be using lots of different kinds of social media. I would strongly encourage you to create a separate account if you do not want to use your own personal account. Those of you who have had me in the past may still have your old fake accounts active. If so, yay, you can just go back to those. Sorry, working from home this summer. Chuck, be quiet. So those of you who might be first time for me, or this is your first time to have to do any kind of social media assignment with me, if you don't want to use your personal account, I strongly encourage you, create a fake one. You can create a fake email address. You can, create a fake, I say fake, and I just mean like an account that you don't use for anything other than for this class. Create a fake email account, create a fake social media profile with that fake email account, and then whenever grades are posted at the end of the summer, you can delete everything if you don't have any other use for it. But I personally use all my own personal social media. You're welcome to follow me. I try not to invade your privacy though, so I don't follow you unless you specifically ask me to be friends with you or follow you or something like that. The way that I grade your social media work for this class is through a course hashtag. Our course hashtag is hashtag NSUCOM, which is COMM, and then 4623. So hashtag NSUCOM 4623. Anything that you're posting for class, make sure, triple check that you have that hashtag somewhere in your post. It lets me find your work without invading your privacy, which is very important to me. Again, I'm not trying to creep on your lives outside the classroom unless you want me to, and that's fine. Okay, so we kind of talked about that. Like I said, you're going to be using lots of different social media. You're going to be diving into different kind of activist causes and really doing some, soul searching about what's important to you and thinking about how you can use social media to further that movement, further that cause of what is important to you. I'm going to share my screen for a second. I want to go over some of the kind of important parts of the syllabus with you, show you our Blackboard course, and then hopefully wrap it up so this video won't be too long. All right, so we're going to share screen. All right, so you should be seeing the Blackboard course page now, and this is the undergrad version of it. I have a bunch of different sections. Grads, for your work, you have a little bit longer length of assignments, and your discussion boards are going to be done through a private, secret, invite-only, only findable by those of us in it Facebook group. We'll talk about that more later. I can send out an email to you all individually. But this is the undergrad page, which is very similar, should be very similar to your grad pages as well. So you can see up at the top, there will be a place for announcements. You can find the syllabus by clicking on the syllabus info. I've got it in a document, like a Word doc and a PDF, so whichever you prefer, fine with me. There is a tab for the instructor info. It gives you my contact info and a little picture of me and Grace. And my office hours. This summer, my office hours are the same every day, Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. And what that means is that that is the quickest turnaround time for emailing. So if you need to email me then, you can, and you can expect an almost instant response. But I am trying real hard to just respond to your emails as quickly as I can anyway, since this is a short course only online. And then this tab just kind of, the Blackboard Basics tab has other resources that might be helpful for you. The important part that you're going to probably spend more of your time on is the learning units. I'm just going to go through Learning Unit 1 so you can get an idea of what it's like and how it's laid out. So you'll click on that, Unit 1, and Unit 1 matches up with the syllabus. I'm going to scroll down to our course calendar at the end. This is very important that you familiarize yourself with that course calendar because it's got all your due dates, all of the work that's assigned, all of your readings on a day-to-day schedule. So as you can see for today, June 4th, we're just talking about course policies. Your job is to look over the syllabus, get comfortable with Blackboard. Okay, so going back to Blackboard, you'll see Unit 1, Categories of Identity and Discrimination here on your syllabus is matched here. Unit 1, Categories of Identity and Discrimination. And then your learning module, you will click on that to access the information you need for this particular learning module. And so you'll have a table of contents. I have it forced where you have to go in order. So you know, I want you to make sure that you're going through the material step by step. I've designed it that way so that you're not kind of jumping ahead to the end and reading stuff that's really advanced that's not going to make any sense for you, but you're going to go step by step through each learning module. You'll start by looking at the Chickering, 7 vectors, reading, pretty basic stuff about how you form identity, which is, this article is specifically focused on college students, so it should be helpful. I've posted some extra videos here and there. I'm trying not to add too much extra content, but just, you know, supplemental things. If it's not on the syllabus, it's not required, but I put it there just to be an extra help for you because I found it helpful while I was building the class, so I thought it might be helpful to you as you're taking the class. You'll see that I have links to all of the assignments in your learning module, again, in the order in which they are due. And if you are supposed to complete, let's say, an assignment like your Twitter takeaway for a particular reading, it's going to come after that reading, not before. Okay? Now let's just go ahead and click on this Twitter takeaway number 1, which you'll complete tomorrow, by the end of the day tomorrow, and it will be covering your Chickering 7 vectors. When you click on that, it takes you to the actual assignment page. What I want you to do for your Twitter takeaways, you'll read over the prompts. You can read this here. And then you're actually going to post your response to Twitter with our course hashtag. And then once you've done that, you come back to this assignment page and you just complete it. All that does is it lets me know that you've completed the work. It gives me something to enter a grade in our Blackboard gradebook. And you can write like, here's my username. Some students in the past, when they do a Twitter takeaway, copy and paste the link of the tweet into this box. It's not necessary. It's a little helpful just to cover your bases, but it's not a requirement. And that's all you have to do. You can read the assignment instructions again for this takeaway, and it kind of just gets you an idea of, points you in the direction of something that you could talk about for this assignment. Okay. Going back to our learning module. So that was just an example of what it might look like for your Twitter takeaway or one of the assignments that's linked here. Other ones are going to be assignments that you have to actually complete you can only access through this learning module. Self-identity assignment is one of these. You're going to post it to Instagram, go back in, let me know you've completed it. The assignment is kind of spelled out here in the actual instructions. So as you're going through and reading over everything, you can look and see what you'll specifically need to do just for the mechanics of Blackboard to complete it. And so this will get you through the end of the week. You're learning unit number 1. And then the same repeats. Unit 2 is for week 2, unit 3 is for week 3, and unit 4 is for week 4. And that'll get us through the end of the semester. There are no exams. It is just a final project, which is going to be your kind of proposal for how to use social media for a cause that you're interested in. All right, so I'm going to run through the syllabus now that I've kind of showed you what our Blackboard page looks like. Oh, one more thing on Blackboard I wanted to think about or show you. On the left-hand side over here, under Tools, you're going to see a link for Twitter takeaways, discussion boards, and your presentation wiki. Those are additional shortcuts if you want to work ahead and access those, or if you want to access them outside of the learning module. They are there for you, but it's only those Twitter takeaways, your discussion boards, and your presentation wiki, which is for your proposal presentation. Okay, so looking over the syllabus, you'll see all of the course numbers. You'll see my contact information, that this is an online class. I encourage you to read over the course purpose and goals. I write these myself, so I think they're a very good, succinct way of describing what I hope you will get out of the class. Additionally, these learning outcomes are very important to me. Everything that I do and assign, your readings, your assignments for the class, everything stems from these learning outcomes. So if you want an idea of what my expectations are, that is a really good kind of shorthand way to get that. Under instructional methods and strategies, because this is an online class, it is asynchronous, which means that we all get to work in our own time and pace. I'm not lecturing to you in any kind of standardized format. So this class relies very heavily on self-guided reading. I can't stress to you enough to leave or give yourself plenty of time to go through the readings for every day of this course. Think about it this way. This is effectively, we have like 20 days that we're meeting, so we're doing about a week's worth of work each day in class. Like if this were stretched out over the course of the semester, each day for our class is about a week of what you would be doing if we had it over the 16-week semester. So it's we're cramming a lot into a short amount of time. So make sure that you are giving yourself enough time to complete the readings. I have tried not to give you readings that are too lengthy or too difficult or things that I think that you cannot handle at a 4,000 and 5,000 level class. But the articles do range in length from 1 page up to 30 pages. And some of them can be a little dense, meaning that they're, complex topics, vocabulary terms that may be unfamiliar to you. It just might take you a little bit of time to go through and read them. So please make sure this is one of the most important parts of your instruction in this course. Make sure you're giving yourself enough time to look over everything. For the stuff that's a little bit more complicated, I'm going to also post some reading guides. It includes quotes from the articles or chapters, takeaways, things that I find to be particularly important. So it will help you as you're going through those readings. Another instructional method are the multimedia experiences. Like I said, this is just the kind of extra supplemental stuff. And you can find those links in the learning modules on Blackboard. Anything that's not directly listed on our course calendar and the syllabus is optional, not required. For discussion boards, you are broken down into small groups for this class. When you click on the link, undergrads, when you click on the link in your discussion boards, it's going to take you to your small groups for your discussion boards. So you're really focusing on getting to know those couple of students, your couple of classmates, and really making sure that you are responding to them. That way it's not just like, oh, I have to find 3 random people to respond, but you're really working within these small groups to discuss the material. I've got a lot of guidance here in your syllabus on how to complete the discussion boards. Most important, I really don't like whenever people are just like, good job, you're right, in a response to a classmate. That sucks. So try to do a little bit more than that, please. Make sure you're saying, like, why do you agree with someone, or why do you disagree? You know, being polite is important, but also just hashing out the concepts. We can do it in a way that is respectful of each other, but still maybe challenges some positions of your classmates. All right, some of the outcomes and assessment that I'm looking for. A big one for you is a Twitter takeaway. I mentioned this earlier. Your Twitter takeaway is a concise thought, question, a link to another article online, any kind of discourse that you would be communicating through Twitter. Again, this is part of your education for this class, is being familiar with as many different kinds of social media as we can fit in the time frame we have. And so one way to do that is your Twitter takeaways. You'll post your thoughts on Twitter using our course hashtag. Each post is due before midnight, the day it's listed in the syllabus, and is worth 5 points. So do 5 points worth of work for it. Don't, kill yourself doing a ton of extra work, but really just, here's my thoughts on this reading. I found this part confusing, or I didn't think this was correct, whatever it is that you're trying to say, you can put it there on Twitter. All right. The next assignment is your self-identity assignment. You will be answering some questions about your own kind of identity. You can read through this more closely on the syllabus. This is an assignment that you will complete through Instagram. I have a couple of different questions, prompts for you to address. You should first read the Chickering 7 Vectors PDF and the Identity, Liberal Learning, and Democracy Reflections PDF. These will help give you an overview of the kinds of things that I might be looking for in this assignment. I encourage you to feel creative with your Instagram posts. They can be videos, they can be images, they can be a series of images. Whatever the case is, I want you to just think, specifically about who you are, and answering the questions that I've talked about. This one is much more significant to me because this kind of shapes the whole course for you and what you care about and what your activism work would look like. So it is worth 50 points. So make sure you're not putting this off until the last minute. You also have a Pinterest ethics assignment. I'm just going to say I've been doing this assignment for years in my 11-13 classes that I teach online, and I love it. I love it. This is a great assignment because it really helps you think about different kinds of unethical communication, different kinds of identities for people, and it makes you think of this in terms of a visual representation, but also communicating that and sharing that with your classmates. So I have a private Pinterest board. You'll have to email me your Pinterest email address once you get your Pinterest account set up. There's more information about how to do that in this assignment description. And you will be able to, before you go in and post anything, you can actually just go straight to the board and look over past work from other students that I've had in the past. It's a great way to realize that what you might experience, you may not be the only person. Your feelings are valid, but we're constantly working on ways to better understand each other and better learn how to communicate with one another. That assignment is worth 25 points. Later in the semester, I think it's the second week, you're going to find a cause on Facebook. And so this is going to start you working with Facebook and thinking about social movements that you identify with and different kinds of activist causes that you identify with. And so this assignment really is just identifying one, talking about why you think it's important, sharing that with your classmates, with myself. I have a sample post here and something to kind of get you thinking about. That's worth 25 points. Later in the semester, during, I believe, week 3, you'll have a historic case study to do. And this is just thinking of something that has happened in the past, some kind of social media movement or some kind of social movement that's been utilized online, whatever, that you want to look back on and assess strengths, weaknesses, what could be done differently, what could be, continue, what was something that worked really well. And so there are some details within this assignment description about what I'm looking for, some questions you should address. It gives you a couple of examples. And the only limitation on what you can choose in terms of a historic case study is that I don't want you to necessarily just copy and paste something that somebody else has done or talked about. There are all different kinds of strategies that you can look at. I've got a couple of samples here to get your brain going. That assignment is formatted as an essay. It's submitted through Blackboard. It's worth 50 points. You can see some more of the kind of details I have there. Our end of semester project is a written proposal for what the social movement that you identify with, that finding a cause on Facebook assignment, how they could utilize social media to further their cause. And so before you get to that last paper at the end of the semester, you're going to film a short proposal and talk about what your initial ideas, your first thoughts on what you will write in that end of semester project. I like to have students give presentations. This is a communication class. And so you can also utilize and practice how to give a presentation online. That's an important part of the online communication classes that I teach. I'm doing one right now through Zoom. That's kind of my suggestion for you all. It's a good way to utilize technology, practice speaking to the camera. It's relatively easy. It's free. You can do it through NSC. You can find it through NSC's Blackboard page. Pretty straightforward. This is a presentation that's worth 25 points. Undergrads, you've got 90 seconds to 3 minutes. Grads, you have a little bit longer and a little bit extra work. But this is not something that I want you to overly stress out about. This isn't something where you're going to have to speak in front of a large audience, but really just practicing communicating your ideas in a different way. We'll do a lot of written work. We're doing work in Blackboard. We're doing essay work. We're doing social media posts. This is an opportunity for you to verbalize your thoughts to your audience of classmates. It is worth 25 points, so make sure you're kind of thinking of it in that term. And then your strategic plan, this is your end of semester project. This is what you're kind of working towards. You're getting familiar with all of this different information and figuring out how you can use social media to further your activist cause. This is where you talk about that. So think about everything that you're doing is working towards this assignment. It is our big end of semester project. Therefore, it's worth the most points. It's worth 100 points. There are more details about that, and I'll talk about it a little bit later this semester, probably the beginning of week 2. I don't want you to think about it too much right now. I just want you to get familiar with the class, but do know that that assignment is out there. All right, there's no book that you have to buy for the class. The book that we'll be using, you can click on this link by any media necessary. I actually have it pulled up on my computer too, so you can kind of see what the page looks like. It's relatively easy to navigate around. You've got contents, a table of contents here, and then anytime you are, let's say, in a chapter, you can always click up here on this little icon and it's going to give you the whole table of contents. This is going to be, we're going to dive into more of this later in the semester, For the first part of the semester, you're going to mainly be looking at PDFs on Blackboard. So make sure that you're going in and you're familiarizing yourself again with our Blackboard course. I have a little grading scale that I always post in my syllabi. I was laughing because I have this whole column for people to handwrite stuff in. Well, this is an online class. Maybe you want to type it in. I don't know. It's there for you to use to keep track of where you're at. I calculate grades, final grades based on points. I don't look at the percentages on Blackboard. I just look at where you fall in this range, and that corresponds to the grade that you have earned in the class. I believe that C's are average work. That doesn't mean that it is impossible to get an A or a B in my class. I just expect you to try and to do exceptional work to earn that A. However, I am more than happy to talk about any kind of grade you earn, whether it's a final course grade, a grade on an individual assignment. I am more than happy to do that. I want to be as transparent as possible with my grading. I just ask that you wait 24 hours from the time that I grade something to the time that you request a meeting or send a detailed, email to me or whatever. Mainly because it gives us a chance to kind of sleep on it, not be so emotional or tied to our upset, kind of strong feelings then. It also gives me a chance to prepare and go back and look over specifically what it is that, your concern might be. I have a lot of students in class. It's hard for me to know specifically each person's case if I just kind of have to answer something really quickly. So that 24-hour rule is a good way to, help with those two issues. You can read over the email policy. I prefer you send email from Blackboard. That just helps flag it for me quickly in my inbox. Make sure you are real familiar with Blackboard in case you haven't heard me say it enough already. I want you to make sure that you are logging into Blackboard regularly. If you have logged into Blackboard, this is probably not going to pertain to you, but if you haven't logged into Blackboard through the first 2 days of class, you might be withdrawn from the course. It will be very difficult for you to catch up too late if you're, unless you've talked about it with me beforehand. It's going to be hard for you to get caught up if you aren't starting early. So just make sure that you are being present in this class. If you're going to submit your proposal presentation or your final project late, please let me know in advance. I'll take 5 points off for each day that your presentation or your end of semester project is not turned in. However, everything else, if it's going to be late, my suggestion to you, don't wait for me to get back to you and say, yeah, sure, you can turn in that Twitter takeaway late. Just do it, because I take 10% off for each day that an assignment is late. And that can really add up quickly if you're waiting, Friday, Saturday, Sunday for me to get back to you. So just all this other smaller work over the course of the semester, submit it. If you feel like it's going to be late, submit it as late as possible or as quickly as possible. If it's more than 10 days late, it will be too late for you to turn it in. Please do not copy. Please do not plagiarize. Please make your work original for this class. Don't submit something that you submitted for a different class. IT information here. If you've got any Blackboard issues, definitely call them, email them, but also let me know as well, and I can try and help troubleshoot that too. All right, so this gets you down to the course calendar. I try to only do one, assignment a day. Some days, though, we have 2 things due. And then I've color coordinated everything because I am a fan of colorful things, and syllabi can get a little boring if you're not looking at them colorfully. So you can see if there's a Twitter takeaway due, it is due over the reading that is assigned for that day. So your Twitter takeaway number 1, you need to respond to Chickering's 7 Vectors PDF. Twitter takeaway number 2 should respond to Crenshaw. Now you can refer back to other things, but don't just read the identity, liberal learning, and democracy reflections and think that that will be enough for you to read before you do Twitter takeaway 2. Discussion board 1, it's the same thing. It will be over the reading that's assigned for the day. You can see the discussion boards throughout here, throughout the course. If I have one reading split over 2 days, you can read about the first half-ish the first day, the second half-ish the second day. These are longer chapters, so I'm trying to break it up and make it not quite so overwhelming for you. The bolded assignments are the bigger non-Twitter takeaway, non-discussion board posts. So just make sure that you're giving extra attention to those. You can see here on the very last week of the class, I'm giving you the last couple of days to really just focus on that end of semester work, that end of semester project, and then anything that might be late that you need to make up. All assignments are due by the end of the day. I don't have anything that's due anytime other than technically 11:59 p.m. Really, that just means before midnight, but that's the way that Blackboard says it. So make sure that you are getting everything done before the end of the day so that it's not late. All right, so that covers the syllabus. I didn't go over everything, but I know that you are all really smart, intelligent people. You can look over the syllabus, see what your questions are. Let me know, email them. I am very excited about this class. This is something I'm pretty passionate about, pretty interested in terms of research. I think that if you really dive in and engage with it, it's going to be a great 4 weeks. Again, just make sure you're giving yourself plenty of time to get through the readings, plenty of time to try to grasp the concepts and do the work. If you're not super familiar with social media, you will be by the end of the class. If you're not super familiar with different activist causes or different social movements, you will be by the end of the class. That's my hope, is just to kind of teach you how to communicate, how to use these tools that we have that are so amazing. And, you know, I'll date myself here. Back in my day, whenever I was young and in high school, you know, we didn't have Facebook and Twitter. I couldn't, you know, be talking about things that mattered to me outside of my peer group. And so it's just a really great medium, and hopefully you'll get something out of the class that you can take into your own future careers, whatever they will be. All right, if you've got any questions, let me know. I'm going to send out an email too here in a little bit that's got a group me link. That'll be a good way. You can always text me there if you've got questions. Sometimes emailing is a little slow. It doesn't push to my phone the way that it's supposed to. The notifications don't, but group me's do. So I hope we have a great semester. Looking forward to getting to know all you a little bit better and reading over your work this summer.